So now we have the basis that we're jumping off from when we're talking
Yeah.
about trauma, and then, yes, we'll get into what could be traumatic for one person is not at all traumatic for another, and what are the little nuances as to what types of events could trigger that emotional distress for you. So yeah, so let's talk about, what are some of the things that could be a trigger for trauma? So you mentioned a few already, like a divorce, you know,
Mhm. A
um,
death.
a death of a loved one, a car accident, right? A lot of people experience trauma as a result of an accident. It may be a vehicle accident. It could be some work accident or injury that happens suddenly, that can now trigger a traumatic response. Um, Violence, right? Exposure to violence. For children, a lot of the time, them being a witness to emotional or physical abuse within their household growing up, whether it's towards a parent or towards them. That can create trauma. Sexual abuse could be a traumatic experience. What are some other ones that you can think of?
Psychological trauma, right? So almost like, being tortured, emotionally, physically, mentally. I think we often downplay play, manipulation and psychological and spiritual abuse because those are some things that necessarily can't be necessarily seen. Um, but those are some of the hardest things to really heal from because they really mess with your brain. And so we've got to do a lot of undoing in that. So, yeah, there's spiritual, emotional, psychological, physical, there's all trauma, types of trauma that we can experience.
Mhm. I'm thinking of also like a violent event or like witnessing a violent event, like a crime. Could be traumatic. So even if you're not physically the victim, just even being a witness to it or even a threat, like someone can rob you and,
Yeah.
that could be traumatic even though they didn't physically hurt you or possibly they did, but maybe they just threatened you with a weapon. That's
Or maybe
traumatic.
they were just in your house and you weren't there. It
Mhm.
still poses a threat to your safety. Right.
Mhm. Yeah, a break-in,
Yeah.
right? So someone breaking into your house can be traumatic.
Yeah.
War, of course, a lot of time, PTSD, which we'll get into as a type of trauma, is associated with combat or going to war, soldiers experiencing a lot of that during the times of war, and that hyper exposure to violence and death firsthand. What about natural disasters, like
Oh,
hurricanes and the
yeah.
tornadoes and things like
Yeah.
that, which, we live in Florida, so hurricanes are a
Listen,
great part of our
and
experience
I
and
can't
ice.
sleep in none of it. Some people can sleep good. They just be like, "Oh, yeah, a tornado was
Oh, I'm
outside
about
my
to
window.
sleep.
I didn't
Imma
know."
go to sleep, okay? Imma get
Yeah.
people sleep in the store.
Girl,
I'm not staying up late to watch it. If it happens past my bedtime, I'm going to bed.
oh my god, I wish. I'm the hyper
But
vigilant one.
okay. So, but then, they had even recently, like the wildfires, out in California, like that's
Yeah,
a traumatic
yeah,
experience to it's
very
nothing you can
traumatic.
do to fight Mother Nature. And so,
Yeah,
those are just a few examples. Even a medical emergency, I think
yeah,
we talked about, on our last episode about um coming face to face with a medical emergency with your husband, right? And, like,
yeah,
that could be traumatic too, this sudden event, um,
yeah,
could be
very
something that could
traumatic.
trigger a traumatic response as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sneezies today. Thank you. But yeah, so these so with trauma, it can be triggered by a single event or it can be a series of events, right? So it could be like this one-time thing, or it could be something that's compounding where it's like over and over and over you're being traumatized, maybe by the same thing, or it could be different things, but it could just maybe be back-to-back tragedies in your life that can kinda put you in now this state of being traumatized.